All right, good evening. Here's another edition of the Wallace Way Show where we talk to intellectually curious people and we riffed off everything from sports, politics to music to whatever we feel like it because it's our show. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about Last Chance U. It's a very popular show on Netflix and it's something that we've all been watching. So I invited some buddies on today to kind of talk about it because it's like really big in our crew. So let me introduce our guest tonight. First, we have Mr. Sean Marble up top. Say hi to everybody, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. So this is my buddy since high school and college, and we've been thugging it out since then. It's been like 25 years. So great guy, knows all his stuff. He's going to be an incredible guest tonight. Next up, we have Mr. Jerome Charles Jones. Say hi to everybody.
What's going on, good people?
All right, and we had Mr. Jones on earlier during our NBA Future show. This guy is a basketball savant. He knows his shit cold, top to bottom. He like I said, he has extensive history and experience with JUCO, so we're going to be leaning on him for a lot of the JUCO intricacies because that's what Last Chance U is about. A lot of the JUCO intricacies, the game in between the game per se. And lastly, we have Mr. Michael Parker, who is head of Crossover Media. He has the Off the Record podcast. Say hi to everyone, Mike.
What's good? What's good, people?
It's good. And as you guys know, please follow everyone's tags on the show. And let's get started. So what is Last Chance U? Last Chance U is a show on Netflix. It's season 5, and the first 4 seasons were college football. The first 4 seasons, college football is a little different. College basketball, of course, it's way more intense. The colleges were, feeders for SEC schools. So as you know, SEC schools, football is God down there, right? So this switching to basketball this year is a little different. What'd you think about it, Mr. Marble?
Oh, man, I loved it. I got to start by saying I loved it a lot more than the football one. I definitely watched the football one, but at the end of the day, the basketball one, it was just no comparison. I was hooked from the very jump. It was just like a connection to the kids. You know, we all grow up, playing ball, like rec league, whatever, AAU, this, that, and the other. And it was just like you could really connect to the kids and the way they were just going through a bunch of different things in their life. And it was just interesting. I wish they would have honed on more about how much eligibility they had and what year they were. They didn't really talk about that. But as a whole, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's the difference between the football one, because football is such a bigger team.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, you only got 12, 13 players, so you can really get to know them. With football, I mean, you can only really talk about what the quarterback, the running back, and maybe a couple defensive ends, but you can't really get intimate with a lot of the players because it's just too many of them. You want to have
exactly.
What'd you think about the show, Mike?
Yo, me and we've been on Last Chance U since the beginning. I'm sure all of us have.
Mm-hmm.
And even when the football dropped, like we thought it was the greatest thing ever, right?
Right.
Because it was just different. You know what I mean? And it was raw, and it showed what was really going on in these programs like that. And of course it highlighted former 4-star athletes who had to go that route to get back where they wanted to be. And even with that said, like I agree with Sean. Like the basketball one was different. Like it was great. I think it's the best one they had thus far, man. So I loved it, dude. I hope they do it again. I mean, honestly, I hope they go back with him for another year or so. You know what I mean, and let him at least get another year in. But I thought it was dope. I thought it was really dope.
No doubt. Ron, what did you think about this season?
Yeah, man. I echo what them two brothers said, man. I've been watching it from day one, season 1. I love the franchise, but my love is basketball. I'm everything basketball, man. So I was so excited to see when they finally found a college JUCO basketball team to do, and they didn't disappoint at all, man. They came with it. It was great the way they followed all the players and followed the coaches, and I think they did a really good, well-rounded job in 8 episodes. of trying to get in as much as they could. Like Sean said, they left out some stuff, but it's the first episode. I mean, the first season of doing it basketball. So I bet you next season they'll get more and really intricate in what division is this and that type of what year are the guys in, because that makes a difference what year these guys in, because everybody's not sophomores, everybody's not freshmen. Most people only played JUCO 2 years, but they did have a couple guys, or maybe one guy, the white boy, who was there for 3 years. So a question would be, why was he there 3 years? Because you only could play 2 years. So they'll probably get more into stuff like that next season. But they did a good job, man. They did a really good job. It was definitely my favorite, but I'm biased, basketball biased.
No, it was really good. It was really well done, like you said. Now let's get into a little bit of the characters, right? The cast of characters. If you will. Now, we have the players, and we're going to get to them a little bit later. But ultimately, we need to talk about Coach John Mosley, okay? Because he was the glue of the whole show, right?
Yeah.
What was your kind of thoughts on him? What did you think about him, Mike?
So, you know what? I thought he was. I instantly went into comparing him to some of the football coaches, right? Because those guys were like big personalities, right? And almost like shit. The two football coaches were almost basically assholes.
Right? JB and Buddy.
JB and Buddy. Yeah.
Grill though.
Yeah.
Yo, JB in his Cadillac, he was watching the show, yo.
So they were, I mean, so it was different from that standpoint. I think they did try to portray him as that in the beginning when they showed him in practice and he was getting hyped. And you know what? They did a good job at that because I didn't realize that he didn't curse until the other guy said it.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking like, he rah, like he yelling like, of course he threw a few curse words in there, even without hearing it. I'm thinking like, of course he does that. Yeah. But then, that later on they walked it back down like, no, he's really this type of guy, which I thought was perfect too, how they did that. It was all around, it was just dope. I liked him as a coach. I liked him as a person. I liked what he's done. I feel like he could have easily taken a job somewhere else. I'm sure he got offered. And he stuck with it. And so I think that shows how genuine he is and wanting to help those kids. And then on top of that, just to see as they got closer and closer towards the end of the season, how stressed he got because he really wanted to get these kids into school. Yeah, he really want to get them scholarships. So I thought that was a dope thing too that they showed.
Yeah, no doubt. What do you think, Marvel, about Coach Mosley?
No, I mean, just mirroring, what Mike was saying. It's amazing how connected he was, with the kids, and as far as just their whole journey, he was connected with all of them, and it was just fascinating to see someone, like he said, describing his background with a disability, and this, that, and the other. And I'm sure, growing up in the hood, I mean, shit, if you don't talk a certain way, you're going to be tested. So I'm sure it was super tough for him. So the fact that he didn't give up on any of these kids, I'm sure is a testament to him coming through that, through the ranks that way. But the biggest thing I took from it, which is kind of crazy, was the way he could be so impactful and so firm and forceful, but not disrespectful or not swearing. Yeah, it was. Damn, I mean, in our community especially, right? Like, we're all about being tough and like rough and tumble and motherfucker, like what you talk, what, and for him to be that way, but in a different way, I never seen anything like that, honestly.
That's a great point. In our community, and even in the sports community, it's all built on that macho, you disrespected me. I gotta get my thing off, right? And like you said, the way he did it, and he was so calm, like
and so firm, and his conviction. I mean, just
he was like, I love the fact that he was a man of faith. I love the fact that he, like, remember he would mop the floor in the beginning, like that type of discipline, that type of I don't know, like what Ron, would you take on that? Like the way he would mop the floor in silence and remember in the beginning, I think
Mhm.
episode 1 when he
And
had
what-
10 minutes of silence, like he didn't say anything,
Mhm.
and everyone was on the line ready to run, and he was just like he didn't say anything, and it was so scary. It was so eerie. What'd you think about that, Rome?
That particular scene. Well, about him, I have to piggyback on what you just said. What stuck out to me the most about him was that he was a man of faith and not because most teams pray before a practice or before games, but that don't particularly make you a man of faith. But if you watch that whole series, I mean that whole season, you could tell he is a legit man of faith. You know, whenever he have his one-on-ones with the players, they would just be having a conversation, and he would just break out in a prayer. What you could tell, something was on his spirit that was telling him, "I need to pray right now in this situation." About what's going on, and you could just tell he was a legit man of faith. Him not using any profanity, which was a big thing with me when I was coaching. With PG, I didn't curse, and that was and I purposely didn't want to curse around them because they all curse like sailors themselves.
Yeah.
But I know that they're watching me, and I'm a representation of a man, because to them I'm old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like 19, so they're like,
Yeah.
man, Coach Jones is old.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when they're watching me, I want them to know I could get my point across. I can, relate to you and all that type of stuff. Listen to the same music and all that, and I don't have to curse. We could get to debates and borderline arguments and stuff, and I don't have to curse. So. I like that about him. But to go back to that scene where he was quiet for 10 minutes, I saw that as a mental game.
Yeah.
That you sometimes have to play with these young men. And I'm telling you, because man, they try everything they can to try to get over on coaches, to try to intimidate coaches, for some odd reason, they like to feel like they know everything a coach is going to do. So coaches always have to kind of switch it up to like not just make things fresh, but just because things get so monotonous and they think coach is just going to do this now. Oh, coach is going to say this. So like in that particular scene, right, where they pissed the coach off and he was like, hit the line. Everybody knows, since you're a kid, hit the line means we're going to run. Everybody hit the line and he didn't tell them to run. He just started pacing. They don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Are you about to send us home? Are we just gonna run for the rest of the practice? Are we gonna do push-ups? What? And next thing you know, at 10 minutes go by, and he just calls out 5 on the floor, and they just keep practice going. So it plays with their mind, and I've seen a lot of that type of stuff before. It works though. It works.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's tap into, like, we love the coach. Coach was awesome. Now let's tap into the players, right? Because at the end of the day, what do you say?
The nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty, like the players, right? And you know who we're gonna start with number 1. Let's just get this all out the way now. Let's just skip all that other stuff and let's talk about Big Joey Hamp, right? Big Joey Hamp. Now,
brother Joe.
Brother Joe is a local guy. He's from our area. So we're gonna protect him. We love him. Right?
Yeah.
We all from the same hood, right? Man, Brother Joey though. It was some moments. It was some moments in there. I was like, this guy's like the biggest asshole ever.
Yeah.
And he irked me because I saw how much he wanted it and how much I wanted it for him.
I know. I prayed for him. So I mean, I just literally I struggled watching him. I struggled.
That's a good word, Marble. I struggled watching him because we know people like this.
Oh, yes.
And
we do.
You know what I'm saying? We do. We literally have grown, like we're all from this little area. So it's like I don't know. Parker, what'd you think about Big Joe?
Yo, I love Joe. You know what I mean? And then for the reasons that you just said, he from where we from. So ultimately, I'm a ride for him, even though he was irking me and it was hard because I just wanted him to get it together. And the funny thing is, like me and my lady was watching it together, and she started rooting for Joe, but it was just like, yo, is this gonna be the game he get it together? Or is this the practice he get it together? And you just kept waiting for that, and then it almost gave me that feeling like, damn, like, yo, he gonna miss out. Like, it got to a point where I'm like, yo, it's over. Like, he ruined it.
Yeah.
He stopped coming. When he stopped showing up to practice and stuff, I was like, yo, he ruined it.
Yeah.
But what I saw was a kid that liked attention, yo. You know what I mean? And I feel like, I've coached before in Rome. We all been involved with coaching and kids in one way or another. You tend to have a kid or two, and it might even be your best player talent wise, if you can get them to get it together. And they typically need you to grab them put your arm around them once in a while, just to one-on-one time, just to show like, yo, we good. And I feel like that typically happens with kids, just like what Joe did at the times when he would pout, the times he would put his head in his hands, and it would be even after a victory. We've seen that before. Where
you lied to me.
Yeah, where it was we were shocked that, like, yo, we just got a big win, but one of our best players was still upset, like, because he needed some more attention. So that's what I saw with Joe. But of course, I was rooting for Joe the whole time. I was rooting for Joe the whole time. Very skilled, you know what I mean, as a ball player. Like, he does some things, like they were saying all along, that some NBA players aren't doing.
Sure.
So, but that bias in me, because he was a hometown kid. Like, I gave him that break. Like, I was like, yo, he'll get it together.
Yeah,
he'll get it together. So that's what I was hoping for the whole time with him.
Good stuff. What about you, Marble? Would you, Big Joe?
Man, so the biggest thing for me with Joe was, similar to what Mikey was saying, was like, I love Joe. Joe is, I'm like, man, I felt so bad. It was really hard to watch him. It was so frustrating. When they, and I don't want to fast forward too much, but when they when they weren't able to play that last game, like, even before, like, when I figured he was like not going to come back from the team at all, and I figured it was a wrap. But when he came back and then they were winning, and it was similar. I was talking with Rome about this, and Rome was saying about not knowing, like, not even realizing, like, COVID. And then, you're watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, I know COVID's coming, but you're gonna be able to win something, right? And when that shit when they in the bus, I'm telling you, I mean, I was like, I thought about Joe in that situation. I was like, I really thought he wasn't going to get a spot, a placement. I thought it was literally over and done. And my thing was, for him through the season, was the talent was there, but KJ, I thought there was like something, with KJ, like almost like a Zion type, Williamson type play with him.
Oh, we're gonna touch on KJ. We're gonna definitely get to him.
But Joe, I just hope he's okay.
He's one of those guys you like. Emotional. You feel for him. You want him to win.
He's a classic tragic Macbeth play or something like that. He's like a classic, poetic justice type, muse or whatever, because he's got all the skills, all the talent, and he's a great kid. And he almost reminded me, I told Rome this, like, of Casanova, the rapper. I don't know why, but I like Casanova as the rapper. He's such a good dude, but if you cross him a certain way, it's going to be game over. And I feel like for him, in some of those games, I thought he was literally going to crush somebody out there. Like, it was going to be like, I
agree. Now, Rome, quick question. Now, like you said, I kind of give Mr. Jones' backstory to the rest of the world. You coached on a JUCO level, same level as East LA Community College, which LastChanceU, for multiple years, and won titles and placed kids into colleges, D1 schools, and yada yada. Give us a little bit more on your background on the JUCO level.
Well, I coached in PG County, Maryland. JUCO, which is called the Maryland JUCO. I coached there for 4 years. 3 of those years, we won Division III titles. But it's funny the way it works because JUCO is so. Do you know? Most people know NCAA. Then there's a NJCAA, which is National Junior College, Athletic Association. And then just like the NCAA, there's 3 divisions: Division I, Division II, Division III. So Division I, just like the NCAA, they can give scholarships, academic and sports scholarships. Division II can give academic scholarships, not sports scholarships. And then Division III can't give nothing. They can't give you a bagel. So nothing. They can't drive you home.
No cream cheese.
Nothing. So Division III is tough when you're in Division III. So normally Division III plays Division III teams. Division II play Division II teams. Division I play Division I teams. Okay. And Maryland, though, is not like that. In Maryland, they combine all 3 divisions, and they call it the Maryland JUCO. And so within the Maryland JUCO is all 3 divisions. So you're playing. So Division I plays Division III, Division III. So it's all mixed up like that. So which is, you could kind of look at it kind of unfair because if they have scholarships, they obviously have
they should have better talent.
They should have better athletes, better talent stuff. And a lot of times they do, but But yeah, so that's a little breakdown of that. Like I said, we did well. We've got in the 4 years I was there, I believe we got maybe 4 or 5 kids Division I, which again, so now when you talk Division III, getting a kid from Division III JUCO to Division I, that's very impressive.
Yeah,
that's it's not something that happens every day.
Yeah,
so
no, not to cut you off, but I had a quick question. So Joe he went to DeMatha first, and then he went to
DeMatha first, Oak Hill. Yeah,
right.
And then so he did the 2 years at Oak Hill, his sophomore and junior, and then he got hurt, so he didn't do his senior year.
Okay,
so but he.
They in the show Last Chance U, they keep saying he's a bounce back. He's a bounce back. Can you just quickly break down what a bounce back is?
Now, I'm personally not familiar with that term, so I don't know if that's a term they use on the West Coast. But to me, it just sounded like a bounce back, meaning he was at a Division I, and he had to come back down to JUCO to bounce back to get.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay,
that's what I think. He was at a Division I. Are you still there? Okay, he was at a Division I. Had to go down to a JUCO. Then he's going to bounce back and go back to a Division I because he still has that talent.
Got it. All right, so let's go into our next person, Deshaun Hire. Now, Deshaun was the light-skinned cat whose mom,
point guard,
point guard who passed away. He's another kid that like you emotionally get pulled from. What's your take on him, Michael?
I liked him too. I was rooting for him. He ended up being probably the biggest asshole on the team. But he's that player that you kind of dream of, though, right?
Yeah,
because he's that guy. Like, when he, it's not. A lot of these kids think they're leaders, and they aren't. And it's not. I personally don't believe that you can make someone into a leader, right? There's something in you that then a coach can pull out of you, but it's something that you're born with or something that you have inside of you that makes you that way. So he's like a coach's dream, and he was also a Division I talent that played. I think it was UTEP. I think
UTEP.
Walked on. Yeah, he walked on, and then they took a scholarship.
Right?
Coaches.
Yeah.
Mikey, not to cut you off, Mikey. You know who he kind of reminded me of because you can relate to this, CJ a little bit.
Yeah.
He reminded me of CJ a little bit.
Yeah. You know who? I was going to text you because really, I thought CJ, and then I thought Terrence.
Butler.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I saw Terrence. I saw Terrence in him.
Yeah, just a leader. Like everyone on the team, just like that's the leader. Like I'm a have to like
always got a little chick. Always got a little chick. You know, make
yeah, Deshaun was a good guy. Like and I think he's going to do okay. Like I think he had the mindset and the temperament to be okay. Right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about? Like he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. He's I think he went to Sacramento State and he played 8 games last time I researched. So we hope. Oh, nice. We hope Deshaun's doing good. All right. Next up, we have Malik Mohammed. He was kind of a quiet guy. He was the big, tall center. Yeah. I wasn't really in love with his game. I didn't think he had too much going on as far as the show goes. What do you guys think about Malik?
Malik was a play. He could play.
Yeah. I think he played.
He just wasn't that. He wasn't a bull though. He wasn't no like one of the things that I thought was cool about him and his interaction with Joe is like here's someone I'm starting over Joe, but I'm trying to be that. Yeah. You know, and Joe was like when Joe got out there, Joe was a bully. Like he said in his own interview, like, yo, there's basketball players and then there's hoopers, ballers. And like, yo, I'm a baller. I'm a hooper. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might not know the ins and outs, but I know when I need to get a bucket, I'm going to get a bucket.
Yeah.
And I think Malik, he had just as much ability as Joe. He just didn't know how to, like, when he out there to turn that on all the time. He didn't know, he just didn't have that part in him, but he was skilled. Yo, he could jump, block shots. He could score when he wanted to. He just didn't have that go-getter and that killer instinct in him like Joe did.
I agree with that. What's your take on Malik, Marble?
No, same. I mean, I wish Joe could have spent more time with him. You know, it would have almost been nice if they, you know, as a package situation went somewhere, because Joe was like really training him and, you know, boosting his confidence and getting him, I think, more aggressive toward the end of the season. But I think as a defensive player, he's got skills. I mean, but at the end of the day, you know, college to the NBA, he's gonna have to grow real fast. It's gonna eat him up. You know, there's not gonna be any coaches, you know, worrying about this, that, and the other. It's gonna be like, it's a wrap. Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's someone else 6'10" walking down the hall.
So that's where talent versus mentality meets the road, you know, because you could have not necessarily the talent, but if you have that mental ability, you know, you could beat out a lot of guys, you know, and that's what keeps that honest at the end of the day. You can't just have talent. So I think for him, he's gonna have to learn that. If he played, you know, has he played games with
Yeah, he went. Well, he went to Central Michigan,
Chicago. Yeah, no, Chicago State.
No, the other dude went to Chicago. LJ went to Chicago. I think Malik went to Central Michigan.
Yeah, he signed with
Malik went to Central.
Michigan. And apparently he played a couple games. So
okay.
Yeah. I was but yeah, like he you know, I didn't really like his story arc. It wasn't much there for me.
Yeah,
but,
it wasn't. Yeah.
All right, and let's move on to my favorite player, Mr. KJ Allen. I thought KJ, like he was just talking about Marble, where talent and mentality meet the road.
Yeah.
He had both. I think he had incredible talent. I think he had bounce. I think he had the physicality that he can get a shot off on anybody. But mentally, he wasn't a whiner. He wasn't a diva, if you will. He wasn't quitting every other week when he had to do something. KJ is going to be a ball player. And he
reminds me of Zion Williamson. He reminds me of Zion Williamson. I mean, I don't want to say he's Zion Williamson, he's this, that, and the other, but he reminds me of Zion Williamson. The way he jumps, his body type, his quiet nature.
His demeanor.
His whole situation is like, yo, you think you are doing something, then he just dunks all over the whole game. You know? So, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I think Zion Williamson is very much similar to him. The way they play the game. 6'6", jump out the gym, Probably could lose some weight, but he still, at the end of the day, Zion is still averaging 25, leading the league in points in the paint. So
Zion's a beast, and he can get his shot off on anybody. I was watching him last night, but I'm not even gonna go there. What do you think, Rome, about KJ? As far as like being the most talented player on the team, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I could go with most talented. I would say he was probably the best player on the team. I would say Joe was the most skilled, but I would probably say KJ was the best player. Like Marvel said, I mean, his athleticism was off the charts. Getting to the basket, getting by his man, shooting from outside, free throws. I mean, it wasn't from what we saw. It wasn't much he could not do. He obviously should not have been a JUCO player, but because he because he wasn't doing what he had to do academically in high school, which they didn't go into that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has some type of
learning disability
or something, because it was something was there that they didn't harp on.
Yeah,
there's no reason he should have been there, but
yeah.
He could do it. I hope that he goes to USC like they said he did, and he's able to play and everything. It'd be cool to see what happens with his career.
Yeah, he's not playing this year, and USC's in the tournament this year. But I think next year he's slotted to be a starter. Mike,
do you know if they redshirted him or not?
I don't know. I went to the USC website. They didn't say if they redshirted him or not. They just said next season he's going to be a small forward there for him.
They redshirted him. Yeah, I don't think he's there yet.
Oh,
I think he's doing. I think he was slated to do another year back at East LA.
Oh,
and then go to USC from there.
Oh,
so he's going to play 2 years at East LA.
That's what it looks like. They if you look at the end when they're doing the Zoom call, you see him on the call.
Oh,
but then I did some research on him, and it was saying that he was slated to come back and then go to USC that following year. I don't know if that was due to grades or whatever. Because then if you peep, if you peep his end interview with his dad, and he was like, other JUCOs are coming after him hard, but I think they kind of got the picture. And then he was saying like, but as far as the high majors, we get in USC and some other ones.
Yeah. You know what? I was wondering about that. I was like, why is he talking about mid-major?
It was weird.
Yeah, it's like the way he. I mean, obviously he didn't have to. I don't know if it has something to do with maybe grades or placements or something like that. Like, yo, he could do one more year, then he'll come right in here, get and I'm sure he'll get major minutes as soon as he get to USC, because I feel like he's that type of player. But I agree. I mean, he definitely was the best player on the team.
Yeah,
he was the best player on the team. Only thing that I saw that might have been, or maybe it was something that we didn't see, was like consistently shooting. And his dad even said it, like, yo, this year I want you to start shooting, because you can obviously dunk on anybody.
Yeah.
But that free throw line jumper was there. Like when he had to pull that up, that was wet.
Yeah.
But he ultimately, he was a good kid. Like
great kid.
He didn't fall into any of that like chirping and none of that. Them, Joe and them hating behind the scenes a little bit, like, yo, him and coach are close. That's like his son. They running plays to him and all that. Like
yeah.
He didn't get caught up in none of that. So ultimately, he was a good kid. And I agree with you too, Rome, because typically you see, he didn't seem like the type of kid that just would go to school and just F off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think he wasn't that type of kid. So I agree. I think it was something else there that they might not have spoke on.
No, that's a great point. I never thought of that. The last scene, like he said, he was talking about a JUCO. So hopefully KJ, we'll do some more research on KJ. But he was a hell of a player, man. Hell of a player. Now, I'm kind of moving off just the basketball particulars of the show. I thought the music of the show was a star in itself.
Oh
like
yeah,
they had some incredible grooves going on there. You had Nipsey had a couple joints on there. Drake had a couple joints. Kendrick had some. Then they had some couple old school instrumentals. Tell me how the music played a role in Last Chance U this edition.
Yeah, the music was amazing. I thought the music was amazing. I thought actually the way they shot the footage of them playing was different. It just felt different. The way it didn't feel like a JUCO game. The way they shot the film, the way they cut it up and everything. I mean, it was high quality. I mean, I think, and I like how they show the different directors and with the different episodes and things like that. That highlighting that. But no, I think the kids, and I like how they let the kids kind of talk the way they wanted to talk, be who they wanted to be.
We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that because the language aspect. We'll talk on that. So let's just finish up the music part.
But yeah, so the music, kind of ties into all that. But I thought, A+.
Yeah, I thought the music was very well placed. I thought it did a really good job with the music. It was like it related the way to the scenes and everything. They did a good job with that.
Yeah. What'd you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The music was dope. I'm a Nip fan, so that was dope. But it all spoke to where they was at. Yeah, it was all LA. It was LA. Like, I mean, everything wasn't LA that they played, but it was kind of like
the vibe.
It lets you know, like, where they were.
Yeah, no, they played my joint. What was the Kendrick song they played? Phil. Man, man. Great artist. Anyways, let's piggyback Marble, like you said, on the language part. Now, from our angle, our perspective, the language was nothing crazy because we grew up in that whole vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, like every time you get upset, right, on the court, whatever, do you really need to use the N-word every single time? Like now I'll preface it because like I'm almost 40, right? So I guess I'm old, or however you want to call it. But
if we had a video camera on us when we play ball,
right?
If we had a tape recorder on us when we play ball, it would be 10x.
100%.
I know.
And we would be saying a lot worse to each other. Trust me. Like, so I love the fact that they allowed that to be in the series. But to your point, I mean, I was surprised, honestly. I didn't think, I wasn't bothered by it. I loved it, but I was surprised because I was like, oh, wow, for this type of medium, they're letting, this be, right? As 100% as possible. And I love that. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, it was important because, these kids, are good kids that talk like that. Right.
Right.
And no one can come out of watching this show thinking any of these kids are like problem kids, like, oh, he's going to hurt, is it this, that, and the other. They were good kids. So I love the fact that, kids could be kids walking down the street, talking that, and people not thinking somebody's going to snatch their purse. I might be talking about the game yesterday,
Right.
And the same thing with, not to talk about other shows, but with the Bronny show and all that, they were letting them go in on that too, So I think
I hear you, bro. I do hear you, and I respect it. And like you said, if they had a camera and doing what we was growing up, it'd be crazy. But millions and millions of people watch this show, okay? Millions and millions, right? And every time someone gets upset, it's in this, in that, in that, in this, in this, in this, and I'm like, all right, guys, you're on national TV, like.
Yeah, but they not thinking that while they on the court, yo.
No, exactly.
Like they're playing ball, trying to live out a dream while they're being recorded. Like it's not like yo, hold on, let's take a TV timeout. Let's go talk to the producers real quick. It wasn't that. It was
edit that out, yo.
Yeah, we hooping, and y'all just happen to be here recording us, yo. So
LeBron might get the whole game uncensored. What you think you're gonna hear?
Right.
Well, and that's why the NBA.
Right.
That's exactly why the NBA doesn't do that.
Yes, exactly.
Now, Mr. Jones, what'd you feel about it? Because I know, what'd you feel about the in this, in that, in that, in this, in this, in that?
Well, so it's a few things, right? So how I felt personally about it, I on
I
one
ain't gonna lie, Rome. Not to
Go
cut
ahead.
you off. I had a problem with Deshaun saying it as much as he did, though.
Oh,
I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, hold up, bro.
You too comfortable right now, though.
Yeah. Like,
when they did the birthday thing, I was like, why did they sing a happy birthday for him like that?
You'll say he got the regular third grade version. Now, what would you say, Rome? What would you say?
But yeah, would I like them to curse less? Of course I would. But like Marble said, that's not how they talk. And you want them to be them. Like to try to censor them, you wouldn't just censor their language. You would censor their actions and who they are. So you can't really censor their language like that. I'm sure Coach probably told them, we're gonna be Netflix is gonna start recording us soon. Maybe tone down some of the language if you can, but be yourselves, because that's really what it boils down to. Be yourselves, and that's how they talk. And I know that for sure because I've been coaching basketball for a long time, and believe me, in the little few years that I did at JUCO, that is absolutely how all the players talk. But now this is what I will say.
Okay.
Not during games. So that was interesting for me to see that they were talking like that on the floor during games. So in Maryland JUCO, you can't the refs don't let you curse like that during the games, or they'll tech you up like quick. They'll tech you up.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe in California they just they can't control it.
You made a good point though. You were telling me when we were talking the other day, you made a good point. You said it's probably because they couldn't hear them, but they were mic'd up, so it sounded to us.
Yes. So that was my next thing. Me and Marvel was talking about the other day. And so when we're watching, it looks, and whenever one of the players will come to the bench and they will be mad at the coach and they'll be calling the coach all types of names, this, that, and the third. Because they're mic'd up, it sounds like he's yelling and saying it loud and everybody. Yeah. But I would bet you in real life, the coach can't really hear it. And they're saying it probably under their breath.
Yeah.
I would bet you that.
That's what I told. That's what I told my lady, because she was like, "Yo, he letting them talk to them like that?"
Yeah,
and I was like, I was like, "Yo, you could tell that Joe is really saying that under his breath."
Like,
but he coming like, "Yo, this nigga, this nigga can't coach.
Right.
Yo, he can't coach."
Exactly.
Like he wasn't saying it,
man.
Like
Joe,
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why
I understand where you're coming from, because it did seem a bit much, and it is, and we're from
excessive. It seemed excessive.
And from our end, we're watching it on TV, so we're thinking like, all right, bro, like it's a little too much. But I think maybe like to Marble's point, if we were actually there, it probably would sound regular to us.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like. But I do agree. It did, in that platform, it did seem a little bit too much. I was actually surprised, and to your point, Rome, which is actually a good point. I didn't think about that, but I was like, yo, the refs, because they was calling the refs niggas and stuff.
Yes,
I'm like, I'm like, bro, like they not gonna toss them.
I don't think the refs could hear them saying that. I think that was the microphones, because I can't imagine but I know our refs are different here in Maryland, but I can't, like you said, they was calling the refs N words and F the ref and all that. Most refs are not putting up with that. No way.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Cannot imagine.
Yeah.
No, it was and that was a point. I haven't been reading some stuff on the show, and a lot of people don't touch that part of it because I guess they don't even know what's going on. But Like that part.
I haven't
of it
even read
kinda,
the reviews. Has it been getting good reviews?
I saw IMDb gave it, I think 8.6. But these, Last Chance U gets usually great
Mhm.
reviews. I
Mhm.
mean,
It's a great franchise.
Mhm.
great franchise. I love, like you said, pivoting towards football to basketball was a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll definitely be looking forward to it again. But it was a brilliant time. Now since we're a little short on timer, let's wrap a couple things up. Tell me about the time when the Kobe death happened. Like, how did you guys feel about that? How did you the way that the Last Chance U portrayed that and played it out?
Mm.
For me, I'll start real quick.
Mhm.
I love that he gave them the practice off,
Mhm.
to let them kind of go whatever type of feelings that they were going through. Even though all the guys aren't California guys, you know,
Mhm.
they are of the age where Kobe was that guy for them. LeBron is that guy for them, so I like that he gave them the practice off. That was good.
Yeah. What'd you take on that, Marble, when they had it portrayed the Kobe unfortunate death?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know what? It's so crazy watching the series. It's so wild because so many crazy things happen, that impact everyone's lives. And just watching the series, you just realize all these things all over again. I mean, we know Kobe obviously, unfortunately, passed away, but watching it, and then then that COVID happened and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, I don't know. It's kind of surreal. It's kind of out of body experience because it feels like it just happened. But
Mm-hmm.
but just kind of like an essence of it just being portrayed in it was like a thing for me. Like, damn, that's right. Kobe. And but they covered it well, and the way they honored Kobe in the film I thought was appropriate. So yeah, I think it was well
Yeah.
played.
What about you, Parker?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with my partners here. I think, Kobe was their MJ.
Yeah.
So it showed exactly what it was. It probably, it showed, it fit the time. Like, that's their MJ. That's
Mhm.
like, I'm trying to think who would be like us seeing pass away. That might have hit us like that, even though Kobe hit us that way too. But it's like,
Like, if it was MJ when we was young, or something.
yeah. Like, so it was good, and I agree with Marble as well. Like, it brought me back to that. Like, it was like watching the year over again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which was I thought was dope too, because
Mhm.
y'all mentioned it earlier, but like, they were showing, like, I would catch little things, like, because I'm after they showed the Kobe situation, I turned to my lady and I was like, yo, I wonder how they going to finish the season, because
Yeah,
COVID is
yeah,
coming soon after this.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then it was little things like when the assistant coach was watching TV, and it would show the date, and like I would get antsy, like it would say
Yeah.
like February 25th, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
coming.
it's
Yeah,
getting close,
yeah.
So it was like, yo, it was just all of that. Like, the directors, yo, they did it was dope, yo. It was dope. I would have liked to see, like, one thing I thought about, and I kept this in my head when I knew we was going to do this show. I was going to bring and see if you guys noticed it. But was it me? Was it just me, or did it seem like they were the Utah Jazz of home games? Like, yo, they always were home. It seemed like they didn't show any away games until the end. And I was like, yo, are they going to show any away games? And but then they finally showed a few. And I wonder if that was because the other schools didn't want to let the cameras in.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
I would. Yep. I'm sure of it. That's probably the reason why.
Great point. Yeah,
Because I was like, damn, yo, these dudes are
Yeah.
always home. Yo,
That's
I would
true,
like,
yeah.
I wanted to see them more on the road and how they handled adversity and
Right.
the crowd that was against them. But yo, 5 stars from me.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you said, this is a great show. We look forward to next year, and I never really thought about, like you guys said, like how it was surreal. Like, it played out. Like you saw that COVID was coming, and then you realize like we're kind of still in there. Like it was just like it was weird. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But listen, guys, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for your time today. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you fellas. I've been doing it like more than half my life for you guys. So I really appreciate it. If you guys, any last parting shots, any last thing to say, anything you guys want to plug, please go at it.
Let me jump in here because I do want something that we left out, and I want to hear what you guys thought of this.
Okay.
Yo, how messed up was it? Like, how bad did you feel? Like, okay, so the whole story about the coach was, yo, he can get him there, but he can't win the game.
But he can't win the game. Yeah.
And he lost. He would lose in the first round. The year before, he lost in the first round. The year before that, he lost in the championship game or something like that.
Yep.
And like this was it. Like, yo, I'm gonna do it this year, and it was stopped.
Yeah.
Like I felt horrible for him. Yes,
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him, yo.
I dreaded it. When they had the bus situation, I'll be honest with you, I was watching in the morning, and they were on the bus, and I knew it was over at that point. I turned the shit off. I turned to ESPN. I turned some other shit, and I had to finish it later. I knew it was coming, and then when I came back to it, and he was on the bus, it almost seemed okay. It was like okay. And then when they got to the locker room, I was like, oh, this is a fucking wrap. This is a wrap. Oh, it was so. I felt so bad for those kids. I mean, it was so visceral of a feeling.
You can see like the energy in life just kind of like flow out of them. It was
terrible. I mean, and then it kind of helped when I saw a lot of the kids got placed, in the programs, and especially Joe. I mean, when Joe was leaving and he was like, I can't take this, and this is too much. I was like, and then when I saw he got a situation, he's rolling with his little luggage. I'm like, yes, Joe. Thank you. I was just feeling for Joe, man. I wanted him to be okay. And all the kids, I mean, I was just really happy for them after the fact, but crushing blow for sure.
What about you,
bro? I was hurt, man. Like I told Marvel, I was so into the show that I didn't even realize that COVID was coming.
Yeah.
I got all the way to episode 8. And then never even hit my mind that COVID was like right around the corner, gonna affect them.
Yeah,
that's how into the show I was, man. And then when it came, I was hurt. I was like, man,
I thought they were gonna get it in, yo, because he was like,
too, yeah,
we're still going, we're getting on the bus, and I'm like, all right, yo, good, they must have still got it in.
Yeah.
Yo, it crushed me. Not even just for the kids, because that part was sad too, but for him, yo, like
Coach Mosley,
it just seemed like, yo,
for me, it was more Mosley.
Yeah. Nothing can stop. Like I got my best team ever.
Yeah,
yo, I'm about to show them that I can win this big game, and it wasn't another team that shocked them or nothing.
Yeah,
that shut down his goal and what he wanted to do, and that I was just like, man, that is messed.
And it's so crazy. It made me think about all the other kids in that situation. Like I didn't really think. I thought about it because it was happening. Like NCAA is done, right? This is done. This is done. High school's done. But then in that moment, I was like, damn, this was literally what happened to a whole bunch of people,
a whole bunch of
senior year, blah, blah, I mean, just all kind of storylines, across the country that would be depressing as hell, it was just like, damn. But in that moment, it encapsulated so much, in this year.
There's no doubt about it, man. Damn. Last Chance U. Gonna be living with Elvis. It was good, man. Last Chance U was good. All right, fellas, listen. Thank you guys so much. Love all of you guys so much. And we will see you again on the Wallace Way. Peace.
All right, my bro. Peace out.